Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. I know I said I would only do that one video in the podcast today, and suddenly we're on the fourth video of the day, right? This is my last video of the weekend. Maybe one more on Saturday if I get the editing finished tonight. Anyway, going on a tandem, might have another little upcoming leak for you on Penguin Islands. But you know, that podcast, if you have listened to it, if you haven't listened to it, go and listen to it, share it, like it, comment it, get it shared around the LUNC community. Need to hear a mature audience talking about these issues, addressing the actual issues, not ignoring them, and going at it and, you know, making both sides see the point. I've come out of this podcast in a very, very bullish attitude. I wouldn't say I feel changed, but I feel very positive, even with Zaradar possibly sticking by his gun and leaving, which he is well honored to do so. I don't believe that he should. I believe that coming back from this, showing the community that he's willing to meet in the middle, they're willing to make these changes, what have been spoken about in this podcast, you'll garner so much more respect. You'll be so much more respected. And seeing that pretty much, if this proposal was to have passed, then without having the ridiculously complex explanations, which the project manager has totally agreed that they are highly complex, and yeah, people probably don't understand them, and yeah, we should break them down in a more simple form like we did in the podcast. Breaking them down in a more simpler form, there was one term that's sticking in my head right now, and that is open highway parity. Meaning that once we get to parity, it's an open highway. We can do all of these things that we've been speaking about, all of the things that I listed in a previous video, of all of these different cool things, seeing projects get the support they so desperately deserve, seeing everything start to flourish. And right now, the way I'm feeling is we've done all of this work, we've paid all of this money, we've managed to get a good team that's actually doing the work. And all of a sudden, everything's going to go to crap once again, which will land us back at square one, which is before we even got involved with Terra Rebels, right? And it would all been for nothing. And it just seems silly. It seems that so much more there is to just be done in this community. And like I was saying, trying to respond to everyone, trying to be everywhere, trying to be the most smartest person or the loudest person in the room consistently 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 356 days a year. You know, you're going to wear yourself down. You're going to whittle yourself down and you're going to become vulnerable. And then like they were saying, right? They're being dragged all over Twitter and that's not nice. They feel like they have to respond to that. And the thing that I've learned being involved in this as long as I have is that you simply can't live that kind of life. You don't have time for that. You've either got time for making good content, doing the job you're actually wanting to do and what makes your community happy. Okay. You need to ensure that time is being invested correctly. So I honestly feel like from that podcast, them going away, even if we've got to get another L1 developer, which let me just add, is not going to be a huge issue. There's going to be a lot of people that want to fill the seat, right? But the issue is we're putting them in a very, very precarious position where they could embed some kind of line of code, and you know, you simply just struggle to trust someone like that. Whereas Tobias has been with us from the beginning. Okay, he was one of the people who, yes, was involved in Terra Rebels, but at the same time, you know, he's pushed us through some really, really tough times. And we've literally just got to this point where, yes, there's a lot of complicated gobbledygook, which amounts to absolutely zero when you look at it on the paper other than, you know, the off-ramp. But when it's broken down in that manner, instead of people shouting at each other over the things that they like and dislike, and then it turning it, because the Twitter space is just like what I see as a debate. It's like basically, if you want to have a debate, that's the perfect place to have it. But it just seems that people want to just debate and 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 debate until it debilitates their minds. They get absolutely sick to death of each other. They hate each other's guts, and it's just not healthy for the blockchain. Whereas we just had a mature conversation for mature people about mature things. It was all mature. We spoke about everything from top to bottom, and I just feel like this is something the LUNC community need to see. So what I think is going to be the game plan is possibly seeing that proposal come up likely maybe Sunday evening, Monday morning, right? And that's going to be the V2 of their proposal, and allowing correct time for these things to happen is important in the future, and we need to remember that as a community. This is why I said it was so important in that podcast, and looking at it from both sides, both left and right, and even in the middle, that we all need to walk away from this weekend and understand what all of this is going to end up meaning, what it's going to achieve, the negative outcomes of all of this drama-infueled stuff. I mean, we've seen influencers intentionally bait people to get themselves in a position where they can then create content, and it was all intentional baiting. This is what they do, and this is why I was saying less time on Twitter, which seems to have been a thing that is definitely going to be put through, because that time spent on Twitter, you just don't see this with TFL. You don't see Jared sitting there arguing with people in the comment section and weighing, DICK S's at each other. I don't know if the algorithm's going to pick that up. The live stream, I said the SHIT word and it come up, and it was like, we're going to have to bleep this out. It's like, okay, I'm sorry, YouTube, please don't ban me. But I think a lot of people in the comment section were saying about me possibly doing breakdowns, weekly breakdowns or monthly breakdowns whenever they are needed, because I can tell you something for sure right now, okay, is that it's not always going to be like this. The likelihood is the next thing where we have to decide on paying them again to continue work is going to be full of all different sorts of delicious deliverables that are going to look absolutely tasty. You're going to understand them because they've done all the junk work. I'm going to be doing a couple of videos next week, really diving into this Terra operator system and what this means for the community, what it means especially for the current environment we're sat in, with the validator sets dropping because all nodes obviously raise their prices. So there's room for someone to come in and absorb that market, and someone will come in and absorb it. And when they do, that Terra operator is going to give the ability, right, for you, the average Joe, to spin up a node on your computer. If you want a simplified version of it, he's pretty much simplified nodes for everyone. It's the way it kind of works by spinning itself up in an environment is you wouldn't need 5 computers so much to do this. You wouldn't need to consistently update things. If you're a single node operator, the update would happen across 100 nodes on the consensus, meaning that everyone's consistently in a parity state. It's actually really good. But like I was saying to Steve, LUNC Burn Army, the project manager, which he really absorbed it, is the wants, the needs, and getting these simpler things done before we start branching out into these more complex things. The fact he's absorbed it, the fact he's had a mature conversation, we've not once shouted at each other. Crazy, right? How can two people have a conversation and not shout at each other? Absolutely insane. So, I think this is really good news. I'm really excited to see this next proposal go up. If it's everything that was explained in the podcast, with Ed's AI thing removed, the Ziggy USTC thing removed, and all of the other things changed, it's got my vote. It's got my vote on the basis that they're doing stuff. And I never disputed the budget. I disputed the white paper, the roadmap, where it was going, the fact we were splitting off with this parachute that has to come back together, and we're all splitting off in like 5 different directions, AI chains, repegs, and all these different things. The simple focus is LUNC, the LUNC community, the L1 dev team, and getting us all back together in a nice, cozy, warm, fuzzy cave. Folks, stay safe, stay aware, stay humble, beware of scammers, beware of doppelgangers, beware of anybody pretending to be me. None of this is financial advice, and I will catch you possibly tomorrow. But if not on Monday, catch you then, folks.